thought we would maybe hang out again, if you like to. I watched my video back last week and I was like, it felt quite slow, so apologies if it was a bit slow. I'll try and keep it snappy. I'm hoping that this thing is working. It's bleeping at me, which makes me think it's working. So I'm going to start with some half rollbacks. So I'm going to shimmy my little butt, big butt, right to the edge of the reformer. I'm going to bring the hands forward. I'm going to take this little pelvic tuck. Love this. Pelvic tuck, roll back. I'm going to hold it here. My heels have come off the floor, that's okay. I'm going to lift it up and down. Nothing like getting the abs working straight away, is there? Little tuck, lift. I feel I have to kind of extra work my glutes here. I've had it's really weird. I think I almost have broken my coccyx or something. It's actually fine now, but for, I'm going to say several weeks, it was not fine. It was really sore. I couldn't have done this. But it's weird. I don't remember bashing it or you'd have thought I'd have fallen down on it. But anyway, anyone's also had coccyx pain? It really felt bruised, tender when I was sat. Even if I was sat on something squishy like my car or the sofa. I'm going to hold it back this time. And I'm just going to keep the arms going up and down. And try and keep relaxed up here. And try and keep solid here. I have no idea, you can probably tell, I have no idea what we're going to chat about. When we come and hang out here, I'm totally free-flowing, and I hope that's okay. I hope it's not too boring. But I enjoyed our little session last time. A little bit of movement. I'm going to go hold. Hold, hold, hold. Arms up. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ooh, and a little wriggle. Okay, let's do some speedy footwork. So whatever springs work for you for footwork. I've got a peak Pilates reformer here, and I've gone 1 red, 2 yellows. I did something really stupid with these reformers last week. I'll tell you about it. Hand weights are optional. I happen to have a couple handy, so I'm going to use them. And I'm going to go first position on the foot bar, so heels together, legs are turned out. I'm going to mimic this diamond shape also with my hands here, like this. You can just do ends of weights, but my elbows are bent out to the side in a diamond. And I'm going to stretch everything and bend everything. That's going to be my first exercise here. So join me if you will. Let's work through a few of these. Take the pace however you like. Yeah, so I did something very stupid with these reformers the other day, which I really regret, and I won't do it again. So these guys stack up. You can stack these reformers up in a pile of maximum 4, which is handy because I have 4. Now, as you can see, this isn't a very big space, not a very big room. But if you stack all the reformers out the way in a pile, it's kind of big enough, for 6 or 7 mats, if you want to do a bit of mat work or whatever. Anyway, so last weekend, I'm going to hold out now. I'm going to hold my arms out in a V, which is challenging if you've got weights. I'm going to bring the carriage in halfway and take a little pulse here while I tell you the rest of the story. So someone was coming in to use this space for a mindfulness workshop, which is wicked. So I had to move the reformers out the way, and it takes 2 people because they're big and heavy, right? Fine. It's a bit of a faff, but it's no big deal. What I thought I would do, because I'm stupid and I try and do everything on my own, is stack them up, not in a pile of 4, but in 2 piles of 2, at either end of the room. And I was like, I can probably do that myself. Wrong. Well, not entirely wrong. Let's bring it in. Not entirely wrong, because I did do it, but everything says that you need to move these things with 2 people. And there's a reason for that. So I've got heels on the foot bar. I'm going wider. So arms are wider, obviously legs are wider. I'm going to press really through my heels here. So I kind of basically I lifted one end up. So imagine one reformer is just on the floor, obviously. And then I get the second reformer. I lift one end of it up on top of the other one, kind of wedge it in place, walk up to the other end of the reformer and lift it up to kind of like twist it on top, which worked because it went in, but it was like it jolted, and you need 2 people to do it, is what I'm saying. So I did that twice, and I was like, oh, well, I can stack them up myself. Like, it wasn't pretty, but I can stack them up myself if I do 2 piles of 2. Hands out, I'm going to hold it, bring it in halfway. Let's get those glutes firing a little bit more. But it wasn't until I got them back out again afterwards, and like I've noticed since, like in the week since, I keep noticing little bits on the reformer where I've scraped it, like I've scraped, obviously there's all sorts of nooks and crannies, isn't there, on the reformer. So I've like scraped some of the metalwork, and I think maybe one of the shoulder pads is a little bit scraped. Anyway, it was really stupid, and I'm sure no one else out there would be silly enough to try and stack the reformers up on their own. But if you're out there and you've looked at these and you've been tempted, just don't bother. Just don't bother. Don't bother. It ain't worth it. Okay, I'm going to put the weights down. I'm going to go single leg work. Nice and simple. Bring the legs back into parallel and bring your leg up. And I'm going to go single legs. I haven't changed the springs here. Did I even tell you what I did with the springs? I don't think I did. Got carried away. I've gone 1 red, 2 yellow on this reformer, which is 1 heavy, 2 medium, which is quite spicy. This is feeling good, actually. I'm going to add an extension, and I'm going to go over and under. I'm going to do a handful here. So it's half term this week. Don't know where you are, but for us here in Dorset, it is half term this week. So all my classes have gone a little bit wonky. Studio is open for half term. And what I've done is, I'm swapping legs. What I've done is I'm working like longer hours than I would normally, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then I've taken the Thursday, Friday off, which I'm really looking forward to. So yeah, it kind of means I have to work a little bit more than I would ordinarily, like squished my week into 3 days so I could take a couple of days off with my daughter. So yeah, so me and her dad are separated. We've been divorced for a little while now, which has its pluses and its minuses, like anything. 3, 2, 1. Okay. Oh, I'm going to take some spine curls with a hold, I think. So feet on the foot bar. Tuck, scoop, scoop, scoop. Obviously, if you want to add on more spring here, go ahead. That's better. Scoop, scoop, scoop. Okay. Yeah, so, you know, it has its pluses and it has its negatives. The negative for me at the moment is that I'm not seeing my daughter for about a week. I don't know what it is exactly, 5 or 6 days. She's with her dad for a few days, and they've gone over to another city where her family, she's got lots of cousins over there. She just has the best time when she goes over there to see her grandparents and her cousins. But it's hard, man. It's hard. So I'm here on my own. Obviously work on my own, I live on my own. It can be a little bit isolating. I happen to be one of these people, I'm going to hold it, that really like my own company, and I'd actually struggle if I didn't have that at all. If I had to go day to day, week to week, and be surrounded by other people and live with other people, I think I would struggle. I quite like being on my own, but it can be challenging too. Okay, I'm going to transfer my weight carefully into one foot and lift the other leg. Let's do 3, 2, 1. Reset, readjust in the old hips. Oh my God, I came down then, I was like, oh, realised I've been like holding so much tension in my shoulders. I'm going to try that again on the other side. Try and keep it chill up here. Okay, transfer the weight. lift a leg. I'm going 3 lowers. 1, 2, 3. Down. Ooh. Okay, I'm going to bring my feet down to the lower platform. Feet together, knees apart, arms up. I'm going to take some curl-ups or some roll-ups, more accurately, because I'm going to come all the way up, I think. See what happens, shall we? Okay. Yes, I'm going to come all the way up. Just enough to tap the foot bar and then come back down. I'm going to finish all the way up after a few of these. So, it's pancake day today, which I completely forgot about until one of my clients mentioned it earlier. Oh, I'll tell you what happened earlier that was so nice. My parents live quite nearby. They live like in the next village along. And they have friends, like really, really close family friends, you know, that just feel like aunties and uncles, that live in the very, very highlands of Scotland. So we don't see them very often. Anyway, they've been down to visit this week. So earlier today, like in one of my 10-minute changeovers between classes, they came in to visit, which was so nice. I'm going to stay up this time. Yeah, it was so, so nice. So they popped in just like to see the space, to see the studio that I'd set up. They even like had a lie down and a go on the reformers. It was so fun. So that was like a real highlight this morning. I was like, oh, hi. Lots of hugs, and it was fun. It was literally like I've got 10 minutes in between each of my classes. So my class is a 50-minute class, and then I have 10 minutes to transition in between them, and then popped in then. So I'm going to do some knee stretch here. I'm going to do knee stretch with a long back. So I'm going to go, so not rounded here where you can do it. I'm going to keep nice and long. I'm going to stick my booty out behind. Keep this nice and whoop. I'm going to knee stretch. And knee stretch, I don't know how this is looking. I feel like I'm not super expert at this kind of like proper reformer classical technique. It's working. I can feel it working. I feel my abs like, oh, probably can't see because all this is super baggy. I'm trying to keep long and strong here. Doing it one-handed doesn't help. Okay. No, I'm going to add a spring. So I didn't tell you what I did there. I did that on one red spring, which is the strongest spring on its own. And now I'm going to add a little bit of spring. So I've added on a light one because what I want to do is push up to a full. Knees down and in. So I'm going to build up to this. I'm going to do knee stretch back, then push up, knees down with control, tuck it in, and then maybe I'll do a set. Keeping my knees off. I haven't decided yet, to be honest. I have not decided. Oh my God, it's so miserable outside. Trying to stay positive. Let's stay positive. It was gorgeous yesterday. That's what I can say positively. Stunning sunny weather. Made me feel so good. But today, less so. Okay, I'm going to do a set keeping my knees up. I'm just pulling in and out. Do 3. No, 3 is not enough, is it? 8. 7, 6, instant regret. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Knees down. In. Okay, take that extra spring off. So I'm back down to my single red spring. I'm going to slink a leg off to the side. Keep one on. I'm going to do some lunges here. In fact, let me grab one of those. Thank you very much. Okay, so I'm just going to get that cabbage back, keep it that way, and I'm going to come down into a lunge. So I'm keeping my weight kind of forward over this leg. I'm not like back here, do you know what I mean? Keeping forward. So I'm thinking down and up. Slightly smaller than you'd think. And I'm going straight into a progression option here with this lateral arm raise, because I want to. Yeah, good. Yeah, so anyway, I've got 2 days off coming up after tomorrow. And I'm going to take my daughter, who's only 5. Such a sweet age. I'm just loving it. I'm loving being a mum at the moment. Yeah, this age is fantastic. Ooh, we have we have some issues. It's not all easy peasy. Probably the hardest thing at the moment about parenthood is managing, so I have a new partner, and kind of managing that relationship and that dynamic and what we're doing and making sure those two are kind of happy together. It's quite tricky. But generally, motherhood, I'm just going to let my knee rest down for a little stretch here. It's just magical. I love it so much. And I'm really, really looking forward to spending some quality time together, just me and her, for 2 days at the end of the week. We're going down to Devon. We're going to spend a couple of days just hanging out. I've booked us a hotel. It's nothing special. It's just, it's got a swimming pool, to be honest. So it's really fun. For a 5-year-old, she's really into swimming at the moment. We're going to visit the seaside, have a little adventure, just because like staying in a hotel is exciting, isn't it? I very, very rarely stay in a hotel. Just not doing much travelling at the moment. I'm going to do that same set on the other side. So I'm doing lunges with a lateral arm raise. So I'm going to ground my standing heel down into the floor. That's where I want to connect. And then I'm going to sink down with that lateral arm raise. I never stay in hotels these days. I'm not doing much travelling. Would like to do more. But it's just exciting, isn't it? Like, isn't it fun just staying in a hotel? So that's kind of all we need for a bit of an adventure. A couple of days out, stay in a hotel, bit of a swim, like a nice little lunch out, stuff like that. It's going to be fun. I have no idea how many I did on the other side. Does it feel like we did this many? I don't know. I'm going to do 3 more. 3, 2, 1. Ease it in. Take that stretch on this side because I feel so good. So I'm letting this leg relax down. I'm going to sink into a little bit of a hip flexor stretch here. Nice. Okay, what I'm going to do next, I might just take my cardigan off because we've reached cardigan off territory. Before I do that, I'm going lightest spring option. Might be different on your reformer. But I've gone the lightest spring, which is a blue. I hope that's not too rustly for you. Let me just de-cardigan. And then I'm going to do some kneeling work this way. Let me get rid of this spring. Yes, I'm going to kneel. Knees against shoulder pads. Can you still see me? Yes. Hands on the railing. I'm going to hinge at the shoulder. So you can do these like as a knee stretch, knee tuck as well. I'm not going to do that, confusingly. I'm going to hinge at my shoulder. I'm going to, again, this is baggy so you can't see, but I'm not going to like drop down to here. Super strong and long and strong. Okay, so hands are slightly further forward. Abs are doing what the abs are doing. We're going to pull forward towards the wall. Glad the camera's not where the wall is because I've got a baggy top and I can see right down my top. Okay. So sure, arms are pulling here, triceps doing a little bit of something, but I can feel this so much in my abs. What we can even do is a little hold here. So I'm going to do 3 holds. I'm going to hold at the top. Oh yeah. I'm going to now hold half-ish way back. Got a little shake there, a little shaky jakey. And then I'm going to third hold just before I get to the stopper. Ooh. And then release. Little wiggle. Okay, and again, I'm going to do that little triple hold again. 1 squeeze forward, hold, halfway back. Talking of hold, have you heard Texas Hold'em by Beyonce? Hold. And release. Okay. Yeah, so last week I was doing these in my class. Lovely, lovely, easy peasy. And I decided to add on a little hold at the back here, which got me to thinking, hold would be a good theme for a class, because what I do is I have a theme or a buzzword for my session, and then I program a class around that theme work. So like I said, this week it was hold. What was it last week? Can't remember. That was a week ago. So I've done a whole class around this idea of holding, which is why I did hold it here, hold those things, hold the carriage halfway in, which I know goes against the classical Pilates principle of flow. I know it's all meant to flow, lovely, lovely. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So shoot me. But yeah, I find it works for me to program a session around a theme or a buzzword, and I get really, really good feedback from it. So I'm not going to not do it. My clients seem to and it was interesting because hang on, hold that thought. I've gone heavy and medium. That's red and yellow on this reformer. I'm going to do some feet and straps. And then we'll talk about that thing I was about to talk about. So let's get into feet and straps. There it is. I'm going to keep this handy as well. Okay, yeah, what I was going to say was, Pilates Elephants podcast, which I'm a fan of, and Raphael Bender, who also I'm a fan of, I think. Although I do find often there's a few of them, aren't there? There's a few of them in the same. They seem to be friends, I think. Double leg press. I tend to agree mostly with kind of everything they say. I think I'm more in their camp. I'm talking Raphael Bender, Nathan Ross Rees, Adam, what's this called? Adam McCanty, I think, something like that. Anyway, they all seem to be friends and know each other and be very of similar positioning in terms of how they approach Pilates and what they think and stuff, which generally I agree with. I think if I had to, I'm towards their end of the scale of things. But sometimes it feels like they're being controversial just for the sake of it, just to kind of, I don't know. It feels like they're really over-egging the point of, I don't know, whatever. Feels a bit forced sometimes. But I kind of can't argue with what they're saying. They had a podcast episode out lately. I can't remember who the guest was. It was a lady. They were talking about variety, how much variety to have in your classes. And they were basically saying hardly any. 95% of the time we do the same things, and then we throw in a bit of variety. And I was like, interesting. Which principally I agree with, but ball between ankles. And there's things that I do often in classes, but I definitely don't do the same things every week. So I have this theme and a whole new class basically every week. And I get the idea of what they were saying on this podcast, where that's counterproductive and whatever. But I get so much positive feedback from it. My clients love it. They're like, I've been to other classes that are good, but I just get so bored doing the same thing every week. And you're yours is different every time. I really love it. They're so enjoyable. I love doing different things every time. And it's not like we would never do a leg press again, because I've done it once, but I wouldn't do it week and week and week and week and week. I do it often enough to kind of maybe notice some progress. But if I've done this week, the likelihood is that I won't do it next week. So I do keep it quite varied. I don't know. It got me thinking, got me questioning my level of variety in my classes, that podcast. But I'm going to stick to my guns just because anecdotally, when I'm talking to my clients, they always comment on how good it is. So I don't know. I'm going to do leg circles to finish up. My inner thighs are talking to me. Oh my God. Ooh-wee. Anyway, so I have booked myself a reformer Pilates class. Great, big news. It is big news because I'm so embarrassed to tell you that I have not been to another teacher's class in literally a year. I did Nathan Ross Reese's workshop last March. I think that was the last time I did someone else's class, which is terrible. Now, between March last year and now, I opened the studio, and it's been pretty all-consuming, to be honest. So I'm going to forgive myself a little bit. But now that it was kind of set up, now that I'm coming up to a year, and I'm pretty pleased and we're in a flow, I think it's time that I get out of my shell a little bit and I start visiting other places and doing other classes. I'm just going to keep this really light spring now, just to kind of, just to float in and out, just to kind of wind down at the end, whilst I finish our little chit chat together. So, I mean, you know, the other thing is I'm in quite rural southwest England. I'm in Dorset down here. There's not a ton of options. It's not like, if I was in London, it would arguably be a little bit easier, wouldn't it, to kind of go to lots of different classes and stuff. So I do have to travel quite a bit to like find other studios. But anyway, all excuses aside, I've booked one. I'm going to go and visit a studio in Andover, which is like an hour and a half away. That's what I mean. I mean, there are ones closer, but I happen to see this one, and I've booked in because there was a Saturday morning class. So I'm going to ask them if I can bring you along and maybe do like a little vlog about it. I'll share my experience. But yeah, I'm excited. I've also booked a couple of days in London at the end of next month on a Thursday, Friday to like do this big fitness conference thing. And so then I'll probably stay in London for the weekend. And again, I'm going to try and book in a couple of studios whilst I'm there. So I'm kind of starting to get out there. I'm going to try and vlog about it. I'm going to try and I'd love to do little chit-chatty interview styles. Like maybe we do this, but together with other Pilates teachers. But anyway, that's my goal, which I told you about last time. But I'm just updating you because I've actually booked something now. I actually booked a class, which is progress, isn't it? Anyway, I'll leave it there. I've no idea how long that was. I hope that was okay. It was all kind of fairly basic, nothing too creative there, was it? But I feel like I've moved a bit. I've got a couple of hours now, so I'm going to go take myself to a local coffee shop, which I can't wait. It's so miserable and rainy out here. It's the perfect day to snuggle into a corner of a cozy coffee shop with a laptop and a decaf oat latte, which is exactly what I'm going to do now. So thank you for joining me. Thanks for moving with me. Please leave comments. Let me know if you want to actually hang out IRL sometime. That's very, very welcome. And have a gorgeous rest of your day. Bye-bye.